How you doing? It's Sandesh here, and I'm going to be reading from an article from the expose, and it's called "We Are Beginning to See the Impact COVID Lockdowns Had on Teenagers' Brain Development." According to a recent study, COVID lockdowns accelerated brain aging in adolescent girls, showing 4.2 years of brain age acceleration compared to 1.4 years in males. Children's memories of lockdown became increasingly negative over time, with female adolescents reporting the lowest happiness levels and highest depressive symptoms. Physical fitness declined significantly post lockdown, with young women showing steeper drops in um, aerobic fitness, 4.2 points, compared to men, 2.25 points. Strict lockdowns led to vitamin D deficiency in 77.8 of pregnant women, increasing risks of pregnancy complications and adverse birth outcomes. The pandemic's disruption of normal development patterns has prompted calls for target interventions, especially for young women who show greater vulnerability across measures. COVID lockdowns fast-tracked brain aging in youth, and COVID lockdowns accelerated brain aging in adolescents, according to a recent study. And the pandemic drastically changed daily routines, including many young people struggling with their mental and physical health. You might have noticed how isolation affected teens, especially girls, more than boys. Increased feelings of anxiety and depression became common as social interactions dwindled. As the lockdowns wore on, physical fitness levels among young adults began to decline sharply. Reduced opportunities for exercise and more time spent sedentary led to significant drops in both aerobic and anaerobic fitness. This decline isn't just about physical health, it's closely tied to mental well being as well. We are only now beginning to see the many ways COVID-19 lockdowns impacted adolescent brain development and physical fitness. The full effects likely won't be apparent for years or decades to come. Adolescence is a critical period for brain maturation, where emotional and social development takes center stage. During this time, your brain undergoes significant changes, including synaptic pruning and myelination, I think that's what it says, which are essential for cognitive and emotional growth. However, the COVID-19 lockdowns disrupted these typical development trajectories, particularly in girls. Researchers used MRI scans to compare brain structures before and after the lockdowns, revealing that young girls experienced more rapid cortical thinning than boys did. Cortical thinning is a natural part of brain development during adolescence, where your brain's outer layer and the cortex becomes thinner as it matures. This process is essential for improving cognitive functions like thinking, memory, and emotional regulation. However, the study shows that the lockdowns caused this thinning to happen much faster than usual, especially in female adolescents. Girls experienced a mean brain age acceleration of 4.2 years compared to 1.4 years in boys. The acceleration in brain maturation is linked to increased stress caused by the pandemic restrictions, prolonged social isolation, and the disruption of daily routines led to higher levels of stress hormones like cortisol. These hormones affect brain development, leading to the accelerated thinning observed in the study. Moreover, the faster brain maturation in females is concerning because it's associated with a high risk of developing mental health issues such as anxiety and depression. The rapid changes in brain structure may interfere with the normal development of emotional and social skills, making adolescents are more vulnerable to neuropsychiatric disorders. The study highlights the critical need for ongoing support and monitoring of adolescents who experience the lockdowns. Providing mental health resources and prompting healthy lifestyles may help mitigate the negative impacts of accelerated brain aging, but early intervention is essential to address the long-term consequences on young minds. Another study found um, that as lockdowns continued, children's memories of that time became less detailed and more negative over time. Initially, kids could recall specific events and feelings from the lockdown, but as months passed, their memories lost some of that detail and leaned more towards negative emotions. Psychological well being among children and adolescents also took a hit during the lockdowns, with girls showing the most significant decline. While all young people experienced increased anxiety and depression, female adolescents were particularly hard hit, reporting the lowest levels of happiness and the highest levels of depressive symptoms. The content of memories played a crucial role in mental health outcomes. Memories that were filled with negative emotions and detailed factual information about COVID 19 and the restrictions predicted poorer psychological well being over time. Not surprisingly, kids who focused more on negative aspects and the hard facts about the pandemic struggled more with their mental health. Overall, the findings suggest that the way children and adolescents remember and narrate their experience during challenging times significantly influence their mental health. Negative memory narratives lead to worse psychological outcomes, highlighting the need for supportive interventions that help young people process the experience in healthier ways. COVID 19 lockdowns also had a significant long term impact on the physical fitness of young adults. Researchers conducted a comprehensive analysis involving over 5,300 university freshmen comparing their physical fitness levels before and after the pandemic lockdowns. Again, not surprisingly, the lockdowns led to notable declines in both aerobic and anaerobic fitness compared to previous years. The study showed that anaerobic fitness, which is essential for short bursts of intense activity, like sprinting, decreased by an average of 0.84 points. More strikingly, um, aerobic fitness, crucial for sustainable activities such as running or cycling, dropped by 2.25 points in males and more substantial 4.28 points in females. This indicates that young adults became significantly less capable of performing endurance-based activities post-lockdown. With gyms, parks, and sports facilities closed, many young adults found themselves spending more time sitting or engaging in less physically demanding activities like video games or desk work. Curiously, females experience greater declines in aerobic fitness compared to their male counterparts. This gender disparity suggests that lockdown measures may have disproportionately affect girls in maintaining their cardiovascular endurance. Possible reasons include differences in how males and females engage in physical activities during the lockdown or varying access to exercise resources and support systems. The decline in physical fitness may lead to long-term health issues such as obesity and cardiovascular diseases and metabolic disorders. And the study underscores the urgent need to promote physical activity among young adults, especially in the aftermath of lockdowns or similar restrictions. Encouraging regular exercise and reducing sedentary time are essential steps in preventing these negative health outcomes and ensuring that fitness levels recover post pandemic. Furthermore, the research highlights that addressing fitness declines is important for supporting the overall health of young adults. Promoting accessible and enjoying forms of exercise might help mitigate the long term consequences of the pandemic on youth fitness and well being. In related news, a team of Spanish researchers looked into the effects of strict lockdown on the prevalence of vitamin D deficiency in pregnant women. noting in Spain a strict lockdown was declared with the population being confined at home, therefore influencing their exposition to sunlight. For this study, vitamin D deficiency was defined as a vitamin D level below um, 20 ng and vitamin D inefficiency as a level between 20 and 30 ng. This is notable since it represents an extremely low level of vitamin D, while while sufficiency begins around 40 ng. Um, in Europe, measurements, the target range for optimal health is 60 to 80 ng. If higher levels were used to define vitamin D deficiency in the study, even more women would have been deemed deficient. Still, even using 20 ng as the deficiency cutoff, 55.5% of pregnant women in the region were vitamin D deficient. Among those on strict lockdown, the prevalence was 77.8. While the study stopped short of examining the pregnancy outcomes of lockdown-driven vitamin D deficiency, past research has linked vitamin D deficiency with adverse effects in pregnancy, including preeclampsia, gestational diabetes, preterm birth, and I think that's cesarean delivery. I probably got that wrong. Sorry about that. I'll put the article in the link. I'll put the article in the description of this video. And COVID-19 lockdown was also associated with an increased risk of gestational diabetes, with the risk increasing the longer the lockdown continued, as well as an increased risk of preterm birth. Other studies also suggest that lockdowns negatively affected pregnant women in other ways. For example, in a study comparing women who experienced a level 1 lockdown in China during the pandemic with women who did not, the lockdown group had shorter gestational length and a high risk of preterm birth. To conclude, the COVID-19 pandemic, had a profound impact on adolescent brain development and physical fitness, particularly in young girls. These effects, coupled with increased stress and prolonged social isolation, have heightened the risk of mental health challenges, including anxiety and depression. Physical fitness has also taken a significant hit, with both aerobic and anaerobic capabilities declining, especially among young women. The shift towards sedentary lifestyles and reduced opportunities for physical activity has had lasting effects on health and well-being, with implications for long-term health outcomes. To mitigate these impacts, it's essential to promote regular physical activity, provide mental health and support, and encourage healthy lifestyle habits. By understanding the unique challenges faced by adolescents during the pandemic, we can develop targeted interventions to support their recovery and ensure a healthier future for our youth. Um, Early intervention, considered consistent support, and listening resilience are crucial steps toward helping adolescents navigating their challenging times, while these challenging times are safeguarding their mental health, whether mental and physical health. Yeah, um, so that basically it wasn't just old people that were pretty much at risk of, if they weren't gonna die, they were gonna pretty much get a long term whenever it's physical or mental health effects on old people. It was also young people as well, because since they weren't going to be active. And as far as the eating healthy and exercise, you go to any doctor in the UK, and I'm pretty sure in America too, and neither of them were ever gonna say to you that eat healthily, and also exercise in your backyard. They weren't even gonna mention any of that, because it was just about wear the mask and take the COVID jab as well. So yeah, the these these effects. I mean, yeah, it's just such a shame that that the youngsters had to like suffer for it as well, and especially on the fact that the lockdowns were obviously not based on obviously not based on science. They clearly were not. It was clearly obvious that they were not based on science whatsoever. And I just want to say this. I went to a bank on my near. I went to a bank on my recently, and to put some money in, and I was waiting for the cashier to be free, and I noticed that the cashier who I went to see, um, she was serving someone. She wore a mask, and so did the person who she was serving before me. So the thing is, people are still scared about COVID-19 because they've pretty much been emotionally told to be still scared about it, even though that we're pretty much out of it. Um, but yeah, it's definitely had longer lasting effects, and I think it might be permanent, to be honest. Um, just considering of the fact that there are still people out there that still believe that still have the mindset that if you have the if I wear a mask, I have to wear a mask so that they don't get it. But the thing is, they don't understand that they can still get it without me giving it to them, and they'll never understand that because of how they were because of what they were told. Anyway, I would definitely I would definitely urge you to read this article because it was really interesting because I thought it would have been older people that would have it would have been affected the worst by the lockdowns, but no, it was also young there's also kids as well. Um, anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.